There are moments when life doesn't knock politely. It crashes through the door of your soul. One minute you're scrolling, distracting yourself, avoiding your own thoughts, and then suddenly this video appears. That is not coincidence. That is divine interruption. God did not whisper your name, He shook your spirit and said, "Watch this, alone, right now." And if you feel your chest tighten or your eyes sting, it's because something inside you recognizes truth. If you feel this already, type, "I feel it" in the comments and let the mirror of the soul know you're here. You didn't find this message, it found you. There is a difference. You could have watched anything else, but your energy was guided here because you are standing at a crossroads in your life. Something in you is tired of pretending, tired of surviving instead of living. That is why this moment feels heavy. God interrupts people when their spirit is ready to evolve. And if you're watching this alone, it's because some messages are too sacred to be shared. This is the kind of message that makes people uncomfortable because it forces them to confront their destiny. You may have been ignoring signs, repeating toxic patterns, holding on to people who drain your light. God steps in when you delay what your soul already knows. So ask yourself, what have you been avoiding? What truth have you been running from? The chosen ones always get interrupted before their breakthrough. Before Moses parted the sea, he was interrupted by a burning bush. Before Joseph became a ruler, he was thrown into a pit. Before you step into your next level, something will shake you awake. This video is that shake. This is not random. This is divine timing. And if this resonates even a little, hit like, so the energy spreads to others who need this awakening. And subscribe to Mirror of the Soul so you never miss what your spirit is meant to hear. There is a reason you were told to watch this alone. Some truths are too powerful to be diluted by outside noise. When you're alone, you can feel your intuition without interference. No distractions, no masks, just you and your soul. God speaks clearest when everything else is silent. You might be surrounded by people in your life, yet still feel deeply alone. That's because you've outgrown your environment. When a chosen one evolves, their frequency changes, and suddenly, familiar faces feel unfamiliar. That loneliness you feel isn't rejection, it's preparation. Even Jesus went into the wilderness alone before his greatest mission began. Even prophets isolated themselves before divine revelation. Solitude is not abandonment, it is initiation. When God pulls you away from others, it is because something powerful is about to be revealed inside you. Have you noticed that lately you don't enjoy the same things? That small talk drains you? That your heart longs for something deeper? That's not depression, that's spiritual expansion. You're being upgraded. People see your smile, but they don't see the war you fight inside. You have been battling doubt, heartbreak, betrayal, and exhaustion, all while still showing up for the world. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you chosen. You've had nights where your mind wouldn't turn off, where tears fell in silence, where you asked God why everything feels so hard. But here's the truth: pressure creates diamonds, and God only applies this kind of pressure to those built for greatness. Your struggle has not been pointless. Every loss shaped you. Every betrayal refined you. Every moment you felt alone was strengthening your spirit. What tried to break you actually built you. Most people run from pain. You survived it, and now God is about to reveal why. You are not who you used to be, and that's why your old life feels uncomfortable. Your old habits, old friends, old mindset no longer fit. That's because God is calling you into a higher identity. Chosen ones feel like outsiders because they were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, to lead, to awaken others. And that calling can feel scary because it requires leaving the familiar. Have you noticed people misunderstand you? That you think differently? That you feel deeply? That's not weakness, that's spiritual intelligence. Your life is not meant to be small. Your story is not meant to be ordinary. You are being prepared for something that will change lives, including your own. This video is not entertainment, it is a turning point. Years from now, you will look back and realize this was the moment everything changed. When you stopped doubting, when you started believing, when you finally chose yourself. God didn't bring you here by accident. He brought you here because you are ready to level up, to heal, to grow, to step into your destiny. So ask yourself, what if everything you've been through was preparing you for what's coming next? If this message touched you, like, subscribe and comment your thoughts. What do you feel in your spirit right now? God rarely shouts, he sends patterns, repeating numbers, sudden memories, dreams that feel more real than waking life, songs that play at the exact moment you need them, conversations that hit too close to home. These are not coincidences. These are spiritual breadcrumbs leading you toward your awakening. If you've been seeing the same signs over and over, it's because God is patiently waiting for you to notice. You may have brushed them off at first. Just a coincidence. Just my imagination. But chosen ones don't experience randomness, they experience alignment. When you see 11, 11, when old people reappear, when you feel déjà vu, it's your soul being nudged forward. God is lining things up behind the scenes while you're still trying to figure out what went wrong. Many people ignore the signs and stay stuck, but you didn't. Something inside you kept searching. That curiosity, that restlessness, that's your spirit refusing to settle for less than it was created for. That's why you're here now. Think about the last few months of your life. How many strange moments can you remember that didn't make sense back then but now feel meaningful? That's divine orchestration. One of the most painful parts of awakening is realizing you no longer fit where you used to belong. You sit in rooms full of people yet feel invisible. You talk, but no one really hears you. That's because your frequency has changed, and not everyone can tune into it. Chosen ones don't lose people, they outgrow them. And outgrowing hurts. It feels like loneliness, but it's actually expansion. When your soul evolves, your old environment can't hold your new energy. God removes people to protect your growth. Not everyone who walks with you is meant to go where you're going. Some were only meant to teach you something before stepping aside. If you've been feeling misunderstood, isolated, or emotionally distant from those around you, it's because you're being upgraded. You're being prepared for connections that match who you're becoming. There was a moment in your life that broke you, a betrayal, a loss, a heartbreak, something that shook your faith and made you question everything. That moment wasn't meant to destroy you, it was meant to awaken you. Pain is the doorway to transformation. It strips away illusions. It forces you to see who you really are. That's why your greatest growth came from your darkest season. Most people numb their pain. You faced yours, you cried, you questioned, you searched for meaning. And in doing so, you became stronger than you ever imagined. That pain was sacred. It shaped your empathy. It deepened your awareness. It prepared you to understand others in ways most people never will. There were things that could have destroyed you but didn't. Situations that almost happened. Paths you almost took. People who almost stayed. You didn't know it then, but God was quietly moving obstacles out of your way. You were spared heartbreaks you never saw coming. You were delayed from mistakes that could have cost you everything. You were guided away from environments that would have drained your spirit. Sometimes protection looks like disappointment. Sometimes it looks like closed doors. But every closed door saved you from something you weren't meant to experience. If you've ever wondered why things didn't work out the way you hoped, now you know. God was protecting your destiny. This is not the end of a chapter, it is the beginning of a new book. The old you is fading. The stronger, wiser, more awakened version of you is emerging. You're learning to set boundaries, to trust your intuition, to walk away from what no longer serves you. That's growth, that's power. Everything you've been through was preparing you for this season. A season of clarity, a season of alignment, a season of becoming who you were always meant to be. So ask yourself, who am I becoming? Like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts to support the mirror of the soul. and your own awakening. Something inside you has been shedding. Old habits, old fears, old attachments. You may feel tired for no physical reason. You may feel emotionally raw. That's because the old version of you is dissolving. Spiritual rebirth is not gentle. It feels like confusion, exhaustion, and emotional waves. But just like a phoenix, something stronger is rising from the ashes of who you used to be. You're no longer willing to accept less. You're no longer comfortable staying small. That discomfort is proof of growth. If you've been feeling not like yourself lately, comment "I'm transforming." You can feel things before they happen now. You sense people's intentions. You know when something isn't right even without proof. That's not imagination. That's spiritual awareness activating. God speaks through intuition. The closer you get to your true self, the clearer that voice becomes. That's why you're starting to trust yourself more. The more you listen to that inner knowing, the less you need validation from the world. That's power. Have you noticed this shift? Like if your intuition is awakening. Before blessings come, tests appear. People will doubt you. Situations will challenge you. Fear will whisper lies. This is not punishment, it's preparation. God tests what He plans to elevate. Diamonds are tested by pressure. Leaders are tested by adversity. If everything feels intense right now, it's because something extraordinary is close. Comment "I will not give up." Some people will drift away when you rise. Not because you did something wrong, but because your light exposes what they're hiding. You don't need to dim yourself to make others comfortable. You were meant to shine. Let go of those who can't meet you where you are. Your tribe is coming. Subscribe to Mirror of the Soul if you're ready for aligned connections. Everything is aligning. Opportunities, healing, clarity, even challenges. You are standing on the edge of transformation. Your past no longer defines you. Your future is calling you forward. So tell me, are you ready to step into your destiny? Like, subscribe, and comment "I'm ready." From the moment you were born, there was something different about you. You questioned things other people accepted. You felt emotions more deeply. You sensed meaning behind events that others dismissed. That is not weakness, that is awareness. God did not place you on this earth to simply survive, pay bills, and fade into routine. You were created to awaken, to inspire, and to shift energy wherever you go. Ordinary people follow the crowd. Chosen ones feel uncomfortable doing that. You've always known, deep inside, that you were meant for something more, even when you didn't know what that more was. That inner restlessness is not anxiety. It's your soul remembering who you truly are. Your struggles were never random. They were training. You were being shaped to understand pain, to develop empathy, to become emotionally intelligent and spiritually aware. That is why you went through things others couldn't survive. If you've always felt like you don't quite belong in this world, it's because you were meant to change it. Right now, something powerful is happening behind the scenes. The thoughts you've been thinking, the healing you've been doing, the boundaries you've been setting, the faith you've been building, the universe is responding. You might start to notice synchronicities, unexpected messages, sudden opportunities, people reappearing, doors opening without effort. This is not luck. This is alignment. When your energy changes, your reality follows. God rewards inner growth with outer movement. When you choose self-respect over self-destruction, life begins to cooperate. So if things feel strange, unpredictable, or intense right now, that's because a new timeline is forming. Fear is the final test before destiny. Right before your breakthrough, doubt gets louder. Your mind tries to keep you small because growth feels dangerous to the ego. But your soul is not afraid. Your soul knows what's waiting for you on the other side of courage. Every time you choose faith over fear, you move closer to your true purpose. Every time you trust yourself, you activate your divine potential. You were not meant to play small. You were meant to rise. Share this message. if you feel called to something greater. The old version of you, the one who doubted, tolerated disrespect, stayed silent, and accepted less, is gone. You are stepping into a version of yourself that knows their worth. You don't chase anymore. You attract. You don't beg. You align. You don't fear rejection. You understand redirection. Your life is becoming intentional. Your energy is becoming magnetic. And your future is becoming powerful. That's the awakening. You didn't watch this by accident. You were guided here because something in you was ready. This video was your sign, your confirmation, your reminder that you are not alone and you are not crazy for feeling what you feel. So I'll ask you one final question. What if everything you've been through was preparing you for something extraordinary? Like, subscribe, and comment below what this message meant to you. Welcome to Mirror of the Soul, where your awakening begins.